Good morning. Thank you for joining us for Financial Self-Care for the Small Business Owner. We'll begin in a few minutes. Thank you for being on time. Please, while you have a second, while we're waiting for a few more folks to join us this morning, use the chat to drop your name and the name of your business. Thanks. Good morning. While we're waiting for a few more people to join, if you've just joined, if you could drop your name and the name of your business in the chat. Thanks. Good morning. Thank you for joining us for Financial Self-Care for the Small Business Owner. I'm Mary Ann Miller, Stay Local Program Manager. At Stay Local, we create an environment where independent businesses can thrive through original research, educational events like this one, and our local, regional, and national policy efforts that help bring your voice, the voice of the independent business owner, to policymakers. Today, we are taking an hour to focus on our personal financial goals in ways that are particularly sensitive to what you as independent business owners, self-starters, leaders are experiencing, and ways that you can integrate into the roles that you play every day. So since we're on Zoom and we're not always able to network in the same way virtually, when you have a second, just drop the name of your business in the chat so we can all sort of see, and even a line or two if you'd like, or the website, so we can all see who else is attending in terms of anything you'd like to share about your business. In a moment, I'll introduce our speaker, Clarissa Preston, and later you'll have the opportunity to ask Clarissa questions one-on-one. Stay Local also educates consumers. It's another role that we play on the value of choosing locally owned businesses. And we connect consumers to New Orleans businesses through our online directory, as well as connects businesses to one another so you can source locally from each other. That's another great way that dropping the name of your business in the chat will help kind of inspire and remind others attending what we're here to do. Stay Local's initiative of Stay Local is an initiative of the Urban Conservancy, a New Orleans-based nonprofit, catalyzing equitable policies and practices related to the urban built environment and the local economy. We can't do it without member support, including support from those Stay Local investor level members who provide support such as LCI Workers Comp, Quality Site Work Materials, Brazil, Saxby and Wilson, Energy Smart, Parkway Bakery and Tavern, Stowe Law, and St. Roch Market. And today, Sarah from LCI is with us, and we'll watch the chat and help with anything else that may take place during the session. Sarah, you want to say hello?
Good morning, everyone. So glad y'all are here.
I think they may gotta say it.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad everybody can make it with us, and we look forward to.
All right, now for more about our speaker, Clarissa Preston. She's the founder of Montage Enterprises and coaches business owners and provides financial insight, business counseling, and training. Clarissa has been in government relations as an advisor for Adams and Reese in Baton Rouge, has served leading roles with the Louisiana Department of Insurance, and currently as the Senior State Relations Executive at the National Council on Compensation Insurance. Clarissa earned her BA in sociology from LSU and an MBA from the University of Phoenix. She's also an American Bar Association approved paralegal and a commissioned civil law notary public. Welcome, Clarissa. You ready to take it away?
I am ready. Can you hear me? Okay. All right, very good. I am excited to be with you all today. I will ask that everyone mute their lines, and if we need to have some dialogue or conversation, we will allow you to unmute, or you can put questions in the chat, and Marianne and Sarah will check those out for me and may stop me because we want to make sure you get what you came here for. So today we're going to talk about financial self-care, and as I go through the presentation, which, okay, now it's working. We're going to talk about how to take care of you financially, as well as how to take care of your business financially. Now, you heard in my background, I'm a master financial coach. I do business consulting, business coaching. I love to help people make their businesses what they really want their businesses to be. So we're going to talk about how to do that. And the purpose is going to be twofold. The presentation slides, and the team doesn't even know this, the presentation slides are going to look like business, because ladies and gentlemen, if you are in business, you are really in business full time, especially if you are an entrepreneur. We have to have our minds think in a business mode at all times, but it carries over into our personal life. So as we talk, the screenshots will show business, because when you get the information, when you look back at the information, I want you to refer back to it as a business owner, because I want you to succeed in business. But as we're having our discussion and as we'll talk about how it's the same thing in your personal life. So if you can do it in your business, you can do it in your personal life, and vice versa. We'll go through the agenda, because I think the way the advertisement went, that there's going to be 3 tips that I'm going to give you. So we'll talk about that in the agenda. But I am hopeful that you will definitely ask questions. You can ask questions now. If they come to you later, you'll have my email address and phone number. We can talk about your question later. But for the benefit of the group, try to ask questions while we're here, because it may trigger something for someone else. Chat with your fellow participants. I'm not going to be watching the chat, because that'll just kind of have me confused, but chat with each other. And like I said, they'll let me know if there's a question in there. Guys, this is about building a team. So team, people usually say together everyone achieves more. You can use the acronym to mean whatever you want. But as a business owner, as well as an individual, I'm a mom. I have an 8-year-old, almost 9-year-old, and it takes a team for me to raise my child. as well as the team I have for my business. Now, when I say team, I don't necessarily mean employees, because yes, they are a team, but you have to surround yourself with subject matter experts, people who know what they're talking about, people who have been in your situation, who can give you some words of wisdom, who can share their experiences with you. So in business, you're going to need insurance producers, you're going to need risk managers, you're going to need someone to handle human resource stuff, because that may not be what you do. If your small business is banking, you are not human resources. You are not an insurance person. You have to depend on a professional. At home, I'm a mom, but I need a babysitter. I need someone I can call who's raised a child before that had 100-degree fever and know, do I go to the emergency room now, or do I just give them some Tylenol and put a towel around them? So when I say build your team, it's your success team, so that you can succeed in business as well as your personal life. We have to get to the point where we understand you cannot do it alone. If you do try to do it alone in business or as an individual, you will burn yourself out and you will not be able to give what you need to give to your business, to your family. So you have to understand that you need a team around you. And then follow up with Stay Local, follow up with LCI, follow up with me, follow up with someone, and don't let the information that's presented to you today just sit. You need to ask questions. You need to move forward. Don't stay still with this, because we want to see every business that's affiliated with Stay Local succeed. There's enough out there for all of us. There's enough for us to share. New Orleans is my hometown. I lived in Baton Rouge for 20 some odd years, but I'm back here in New Orleans, and this whole Louisiana, this is us. And we want to make sure that businesses are striving here and families are striving, are succeeding as well. So just the short of it, these are the things that we're going to talk about, but these really are your 3 tips. You want to maintain, you want to improve, and you want to build. We're going to talk about maintaining your financial health, personal and business, improving financial performance, as well as building long-term success, because you just can't keep still. That's not what we're here for. The group of folks that I feel like I'm talking to today, we want to grow, we want to improve, and we want to build. So this is what we're going to present to you today. So let's first start with talking about how to maintain financial health, because you've probably gotten to a certain point where business is good. Hopefully business is great. But for some of you, it may just be, we're here, but we need to stay here and we don't need to move backwards. So we want to at least keep what we have, as well as in our households. I'm sure we'd all like to be millionaires, billionaires. You can get there, and I'm going to help you and encourage you to get there. I'm not there yet. I'm still working on it. However, we want to at least maintain what we have. We don't want to put ourselves in a situation where we're losing. Most people who are on the line with us today, we are experiencing South Louisiana situations like hurricanes and heat exposure and water exposure and different things like that. And we've seen how it can really take people down. It can end a business. It can cause you to have to move out of the family home. The market crashes. We have recessions. Things happen. So we have to put things in place where we can at least maintain what we have and not have to start all over again. So we're going to talk about financial documentation first, because this is really one of the keys and one of the places that I see a lot of my clients struggle. They don't document. I'm going to worry about that later. I'm going to deal with that later. That's really not important. I'm not big enough to worry about those things. Well, in business, if you're not paying attention to it, that's probably the same thing that's going on in your household. And you're not going to make improvements and you're not going to be able to build if you can't track. So let's start with this. So income statements. Do you know what is coming into your business? Are you tracking the income that actually comes in? And if you can't do it yourself, this is where you start putting people on your team, because you need to know what you're actually working with. And as an individual, I was just talking to a friend of mine, and I'm full of stories, y'all. So just deal with me and play with me, because I always got a story. So I was talking to a friend of mine who works for the state, and she said, a coworker asked me, did I look at my check stub? And I was like, well, why? I never look at my check stub. Stuff is deposited into my account. I pay my bills. I figure I get paid the same. Well, apparently all of the employees had been given a 1% increase from that particular agency. And for some people, that was a good sum of money, but they didn't check their check stub. So they didn't know. They weren't checking their bank account. So they didn't know. And so it was, I got some surprise money that I didn't even know that I had. It wasn't an announcement that the money was coming out, but it was the person who looked at their check stub that saw that difference. So if you are not paying attention and being aware, money can just slide through that you don't even know about. So that's directly deposited into your account. You're paying your bills, but you never knew you had an extra $1,000 in this particular month. You didn't know you had an extra $500 in this particular month. So when you were doing your budgeting or different things like that, you probably spent that extra $500 and didn't even know, because you're not keeping up with what's going on. And then balance sheets, the same thing, business and personal. You have to be able to balance what's going on, what's coming in versus what's going out, what's coming in versus what's going out. And these are the things that help you develop budgets. And I know people hate the B word. Well, the B word, budget, is not a bad word. It's basically telling your money where it should go instead of your money telling you where it's going. So you want to have the control over that. The B word is not a bad word. Budgeting is great, business and personal. Your cash flow statements. Is everything meshing? Is everything happening correctly? Business, you want to make sure bills are getting paid, but you want to make sure you have the cash flow to pay those bills. What is really going on? And again, this is where your team comes in. Do you have an accountant? Do you have a financial coach? Who do you have to help you manage these things? And then in your household, where is your husband on this? Where's the person who you are co-managing accounts with? Do you all know what's going in, what's coming out? Will you be able to cover what's coming out? Because I'm the first person to tell you, I do not support bank charges, late fees, and the ways that these financial institutions earn some of their money. You are not getting a late fee from me. You are not getting any extra fees for me. I'm paying you for services. You are providing services, and I'm not giving you anything extra. But the only way that you know that things balance out is if you are documenting properly. And you got to have regular checkups. Is it good to have a checkup with someone once a year? Absolutely not. If you hear anything else from me today, financial checkups, regular, is not annual. This needs to be monthly, quarterly, the furthest out every 6 months, because things slip through and things happen. And if you can catch it sooner than later, then you can address it better. So you don't need to wait until a year to meet with your CPA. You don't need to wait a year to meet with your accountant. And as a personal financial coach and a business financial coach, you need to at least check in with me quarterly, because we need to ensure that nothing slipped away that we hadn't planned for, because we know things happen. So these documents are really important. And as a business owner, you should document as if you're being audited. So if someone comes in to audit your business, if the IRS comes in to audit your business, you don't have to go and put these things together. They're already in place. And let me tell you, personally, when I started getting my personal finances together, it took something off my shoulders that I never thought it would. And we will talk about it as we move forward with automation and different things like that. But the more you can take out of your mind by knowing that it's written down somewhere and it's documented, or now things are not written down, they're on a drive or what have you. But as long as you know that there's a record somewhere and things are in order, you sleep better, you exhale better, you do so many things better when you can move forward because you know the documentation is there. Now, again, ask questions as we go along if you need to. So now let's talk a little bit more about that cash flow management, because we need to really understand where the money is going and how we're moving it around. So again, my screens are going to talk about business, but we're going to relate them to personal. So you have to manage cash flow just like you manage the people in your business. It's just as important, if not more important. And the same with your family. I got an 8-year-old and he talks to me about money. He has a budget. We keep up with things. I make sure he writes his stuff down on a piece of paper when he spends something off of his little till card, because that is how you start. And again, for those who have littles, the sooner you get them in a mode of taking care of their finances, the easier it's going to be for them as an adult. And if they want to become business owners, because it's already in their system. They're never too young to talk about money. We talk about money is the root of all evil, and people say stuff like that. Not true. If you don't let money control you and you don't let money take over your life, money is a good thing because it allows you to be able to be philanthropic. It allows you to start businesses. It allows you to pass things down in a legacy. It's so many things that you can do if you have the financial wherewithal to do it. So let's manage our money. When you're talking business, you want to have invoices done timely. If you are on a 30-day pay, 60-day pay, what have you, make sure you're keeping up with it and that you're billing people appropriately. I know in small businesses, we tend to have relationships that are closer than the large businesses. So we may put things on the back burner for our friend, or, you know, we will send it to you later. Don't worry about it. I'll get back to you. Not a good practice. Now, what you do with how you charge someone, that's your business. And that's how you separate clients. However, when you're invoicing, everybody should be invoiced the same. Everybody should be invoiced accordingly, because you need to get yourself in a pattern or way of doing things. And so if you're not invoicing everybody at the same time, things will get lost and people will not offer to say, oh, I owe you. They're not coming back to say, you know, thanks for letting me have that $1,500 product that I never paid for. So you want to definitely invoice timely. You have leeway with the charges that you're charging people, but keep everybody on the same schedule with paying bills. Managing expenses. Maybe we need to look at buying things in bulk, or maybe we don't use enough of it that we need to stop buying in bulk. Same thing with your personal life. It's a couple of us in my household. It didn't make sense to me to shop at Sam's and Costco. But then now when I started putting the time part of my life into what I have to do to feed the people around me and to do the things in my household, it does make sense for me to use wholesalers and buy things in bulk for certain things. And you can put them on a schedule, but also you can meal prep and do different things. So you have to figure out what works best for you And if you're managing your expenses, you have an opportunity to look back and look forward, making plans. Budgeting appropriately. Again, the B word. You can use so many tools that are out there to do budgets. I'm a simple girl. I use an Excel spreadsheet. I'm able to go back and move things around, change things around, because that's something that's another misconception is people feel like when you budget, you are trapped in this, but it's evergreen. You can move things around. It's not something that you are stuck to. The whole purpose of budgeting is so that you can move things around because you're now able to see where money is going, where it's coming from, where it's going out to, and you can move things around. That's the beauty of it. You are not stuck in a budget. And when you're managing your cash flow, that's where you can see if you can afford to get some type of credit. You go into a place and say, I want to get a loan on this, or I want to open a credit line for my business. Well, how do you know? You go in there and the people are looking for your paperwork and you're like, well, I don't know. I haven't been tracking it. So if you manage your cash flow, then you already know what you're able to get and how others can work with you on finances. Strategic planning. If you're sitting down figuring out what your 5-year, 10-year plan is, how do you do that if you haven't managed your cash flow? And one of the biggest things is the business continuity through a crisis. Again, we're in hurricane season right now. What is our cash flow going to look like if my business is shut down for 30 days? What am I still going to have to pay? What will I be able to float for a while? What am I going to be able to do? Well, if I don't have my cash flow and these documents that we talked about earlier together, then I'm just kind of stuck. And you don't want to have to figure those things out when you are in a crisis. So basically what I'm saying is don't get ready, be ready. So have all of that information outlined in somewhere that you can find it quickly. Let's move to some cost control tips. So here are 3 words for you to remember: identify, categorize, implement. On your business level, what are all of your costs? Label them and sort them. Same thing on the personal side. Now, when I say all costs, I mean all costs. So if you sat here and you came to me for coaching and I said, so what are all of your costs? And you told me I have electric, I have a mortgage or lease, I have this, that, and the other. I guarantee you I'm going to come up with probably 10 more things that you haven't thought about. So the best way to identify is to track for at least 2 months minimum so that you can really see what it is that you are spending money on. And then you label and you sort them. And then once you label and sort them, then you start looking at the fixed cost versus the variable cost, because that's where you have the most control over those variable costs. And that's where you can start moving things around. That's where you can start making some decisions. Do I need this? Do I not need this? Can I put this off for a while? How important is this? And that's when you start to implement your cost saving measures. So, what was it? UPS, they only turn right to save gas. We have sales to make sure that we make a lot of money at Mother's Day and Father's Day. So we have certain things we have to buy for this. We have certain things we have to buy for that. There are various different things that you can implement into your business to save money, but you don't know what they are until you've identified all of them and then you've categorized them all. And that's the same thing for your home. When I first started showing people how to do budgets, they were like, I just didn't realize I had all these expenses. And one of the biggest is subscriptions. they're not realizing how many subscriptions they have because they don't even utilize half of the subscriptions, especially like those on the digital platforms and the TVs and the cable and the phone services. And it's like, why am I paying for this? Because I don't even use it. But you didn't realize that you had it because you're really not identifying all of your costs. So as you're working on your budgets for work, as you're working on your budgets for home, you have to identify everything. And that's even things like we were talking before we started about summer and how our kids are home for summer or we're sending them off to camp. For those of you who don't have littles, camp is expensive. And it's not something that you think about that you have to pay from June to August. But we need to incorporate that in there. Mine is doing trumpet practice now, and they have soccer and they have football. Well, just like in your personal life, in your business, you have things that are coming through that you didn't plan on, but now you have to plan for them. I was doing my estate planning with my subject matter expert because that's not my thing. And she was like, so, if something should happen to you before your child is old enough to take care of himself and someone else has to take care of him, what kind of things do you want him to be involved in? Because we have to make sure that there's money to cover those things if somebody else has to raise him. And I'm like, well, I guess I do need to think about those types of things. So when I say all costs, I mean all costs, not just present, but possibly future, because those are things that we need to discuss. And in business, I just leased a new office space, and that was on my plan, and that was something that I had planned for, but it was down the way. And so in my strategic planning, I had to start budgeting for costs for the new office space. So I'm talking about now, but I'm also talking about future. And while I take a swallow, does anyone have any questions in the chat, ladies?
There aren't any, but if someone wants to raise their hand.
All right, well, I will keep moving. And remember things like maintenance when you are categorizing your costs, because things happen and they break. And in the summertime, there's always some AC problem. And in the wintertime, there's always some heat problem. And so also include maintenance in your costs. So let's move to improving financial performance. Am I on time? Okay, good. So let's talk about some revenue growth strategies. So we want to grow our businesses. We are not going to just stay where we are. We need to grow. So do we possibly expand a product line or service line? Do we increase our market reach? We're using social media now. We can reach more people. We can tie our businesses in with some influencer. A lot of these food places, things are having the Keith Lee effect and business changes. And, there are things that happen that makes things move. So if you want to grow, we got to look at ways to increase our market reach. Some of these social media influencers, they have thousands and millions of followers. If they're promoting your product, that could possibly help do a major boom for your business. Upselling and cross-selling. Let me tell you that if you have not worked in a service industry job, you're missing out, because it teaches you a lot about upselling and cross-selling. I've worked selling jewelry in Maison Blanche, for those who y'all remember Maison Blanche. And I worked at Bath and Body Works, and it taught me how to move a product. Let me tell you, you can, and then when I started selling insurance, people couldn't understand, how does Clarissa sell so much life insurance? Because I cross-sell it with the property insurance. And for some of the companies, it gave a multi-line discount. So now you got two products for one. You came in here looking for auto insurance, and now you got auto insurance and life insurance. And I brought you your 18-year-old male son's premium down to something reasonable, because now he has a life insurance policy tied to his auto insurance policy. And those are the ways that you get repeat customers, you get referral customers, because you're not just trying to make money for yourself, but you're helping people to get the products that they need that they may not necessarily know they need. And so they start to trust you, and they start to realize that if I ask the right questions, then maybe I can help somebody else in another situation. And so, you know, you're selling cosmetics. Well, if you have a cleanser that you're selling, why are you not selling a toner and a moisturizer to go with it? Because you don't want somebody to use your cleanser and then get a dry face and wonder, well, how do I get the moisture back? Well, you didn't sell them a toner and you didn't sell them a moisturizer. So you have to grow your business by selling accompanying items that go along with that. And so you're helping your customer, but you're also helping your business. And you definitely need to optimize pricing strategies. When do I do my sales? When do I tie things to the holidays? When do I do these types of things with my packaging? And that's how your business grows. And the same thing in your personal life. So expand product, services, and lines. Maybe you need to have a second or third income, multiple streams of income. That helps you grow the finances in your home. How do you if you have a business and you're an entrepreneur and you do printing, that's what you do and that's your business, but you also bake well. Maybe you need to have a home baking business to bring in some extra funds to cover the extracurricular activities that the kid is doing, and sell them at the game as a concession. So you make it all work for you, and you can increase the income in your home, in your household, but especially in your business. We definitely want to see you moving forward and not standing still. We definitely want you to maintain, but we are definitely growing in this group. This is a group of growth. We are moving forward. We are growing our businesses, and we are growing our finances as well in our personal lives. Now, operational efficiencies. Does it make sense? Guys, if it's not making dollars, it's not making sense, is one of the things. But does it make sense in the business? How do we streamline our processes? How do we make things easier? I want the same results or a better result, but I want to use less time and less effort. And there's so many things out there today that makes our life easier. Now, in the household, a streamlining process could be something as easy as an iRobot to go around and clean your floors. So instead of you sweeping and mopping all the time, spend a few $100s and get you one of those little robot things that uses a damp thing and it mops your floors and it sweeps for you and it gets those Cheerios and stuff from off of your floor. Save that time that you were sweeping to do something else. In your business, were you hand mailing stuff all the time and bringing it to the post office? Let them come to you. Work it out with your mail carrier. I am going to have a stack of stuff on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So will you make sure, if you don't see me, that you've asked me, can you pick this up for me? And save that time that you were going to the post office. I mean, it's just little simple things that you can do to make life easier on you. And just like I said, you need a team because you want to have people supporting you. It's the same thought process. Why am I spinning my wheels and doing all of these things that I don't necessarily have to do? And guys, let's bring in the family members. I hate post office. I hate library. I watch Ghostbusters and I've just been terrified. My mom takes my son to the library. She does the post office run because I don't like it. I don't like to go in there. I don't like the people because a lot of times I'm mailing packages, so my person can't just always pick up. But let me give you a gas card. You take care of those things for me. I'm streamlining processes, guys. And if it's something that you don't like to do or that's uncomfortable for you to do, those are the things you start off with. Find those inefficiencies. How can you use your time better? And use the technology and automation that's out there. If you are sending emails to your clients, do you know that MailChimp, Constant Contact, Canva, all of those things allow you to set things up to be sent out at a later time? So you don't have to type it now to send it out in 5 minutes. You can do it at 3 o'clock in the morning when you woke up and you can't sleep. You don't want that to go out to your customer at that time, but you set it to go out at 8 o'clock or whatever time your clientele tends to look at their emails, because that is something you also need to be aware of. What time do your people look at their stuff? But use the technology that's out there. If you're doing social media, use the technology so that you can, if you are in a mode of, I got 10 things that I'm thinking of, then do 10 posts and have it to where they each go out a separate day of the week. Or if you got a teenager in your life, or you have the ability to get an intern who's into that kind of stuff, let them do it and you just proof it and set it out to go out automatically. We got to make things easier on ourselves. It's still just 24 hours in a day. I want you to sleep at least 8 to 10 of those hours, especially if you're maturing. We're getting tired and old. We need to get our rest. So the time that you have available to do things, use that time wisely and stop trying to overdo everything. And delegation and all of that is a whole nother seminar. But we have to learn how to find those inefficiencies, find out the things that may or not work for you. Use AI. Guys, if you don't use AI, get somebody to teach you how to use stuff like Chat GPT and different AI assistants to help you when you have those brain blocks and can't come up with things and create things. There's some great tools. I'm in school. I'm working on a doctorate degree right now, and we're learning a lot about AI and how to incorporate AI into things and use virtual assistants. You don't have to have an assistant in the business with you, in the house with you. They can do things virtually and take care of things virtually for you. And this point, I want you to remember, what works for someone else may not work for you, and what works for you may not work for someone else, and that is okay. And you don't have to justify it to anybody. You don't have to have people agree with you on things. You want to do what works for you and your business, and to be able to press the easy button. So we're going to talk a little bit about long-term success. You have to plan. You have to have a business plan for your business. You can start a business without a business plan. That's fine. Get started, do what you got to do. But you have to plan where you're going, because if you don't know where you're going, it's going to be hard to get there. Same thing for your household. Where do you want to be in 5 years? Where is your child going to be in 5 years, in 10 years? What do you need to start planning for? Do you need to start planning for college? Are you having another baby? Do you need to plan for another child in the household? Are you getting married? Are you getting divorced? What is going on? But you need to plan for it. And you need to look at what those short-term and long-term financial goals are. For the business, am I expanding? Am I going to need money for a new place, a new building, more employees, more inventory at home? Am I needing a new car in 2 years? Are we outgrowing our house? Are we moving to another state? What types of things do I need to be concerned about as we're moving forward? So you have to set some goals. You can't just sit there. Then you want to invest. Investing in growth. We're not standing still. This is the group that's moving. We are moving forward. So reinvest your profits. You have to take a little bit of it and put it into something to help the business grow. If you're budgeting, part of your budget for your personal life is savings. What's going into your savings? Reinvest the money into something else. Don't just let things sit. Money is supposed to work for you. If you're just letting it sit in a little savings account, getting 1%, 1 cent, 2 cent every month, instead of it going into a new machine that's going to help you to build more business, or something that's going to allow you to do more in the home, then it's not making sense. So you want to reinvest any profits, any funds that are overages in your personal life, that goes into your savings. And in business, you may need to have external funding to do some of the things you want to do. You may need to get a loan or find an investor. And that's where all that documentation is very important, because you already have that in order. You don't have to go and create it. And now there's so many grants that are available through the government, through private corporations, that you may qualify for. And so let's do it. We want to teach some courses on something. There's probably a grant for it. There are different things that you can apply for. And what's the worst that can happen is that they say no, but they may say yes. And so again, look at your team. Who's your financial advisor? Who's your banker? I use a drive-through for the bank for my business as well as my personal, but I also go in often and I talk to my banker. And so when I needed loans, I had somebody to speak up for me. When I purchased the new house, I had someone already in line to vouch for me. I wasn't just a number. One of my bankers moved to a different bank, and I moved all of my accounts out of one bank to another bank because I was following that person who was taking care of me. So especially in business, you should know who your person is and have a personal relationship with folks. Now, risk management, I could talk about this forever because I've been in the insurance business for almost 30 years. You got to get covered, and you have to have some people on your team. You want to have an insurance producer on your team, insurance agent, it's the same thing, but somebody that you can talk to. In business, you may have a risk manager, a financial advisor, but someone who can help you to diversify your income streams. And just like I said, in business, personal, multiple streams of income, diversify those income streams. In the business, you have products, but you may also need to sell your expertise. So there are different ways you can bring in income. You gotta insure things. Business insurance, liability insurance, property insurance, umbrella insurance. If you're a business owner, people are gonna try to sue the business and sue you personally. So have an umbrella policy, auto policies, life policies, health policies, disability policies. It's better to have coverage than to not have coverage. So you definitely want to find a subject matter expert to help you with these things. Emergencies will happen. Not maybe, they will. I said the air conditioner is going to break. The heater might break. The roof might leak. A hurricane may come. You want to be protected so you are not at a loss and now I have to start all over again. So talk with someone about how to cover for these things. And then succession. It made my heart feel so good the other day. My son, he wants to be a doctor, but he also wanted to be an artist. He also wanted to be an astronaut and so many different things. But one of the things he added to it is, and I'm going to keep Montage Enterprises so I can keep your legacy going. So somebody has to fill in when you leave. And if you have a great business, why would you want it to go? And if you have a great team member, they're going to retire eventually. Who's going to replace them? So you definitely need to not take these things as a game. It's real life, real serious. So I'm getting to the end. I'm calling to action. Take these steps immediately. Get your team together. Who's helping you with your finances? Do you have an accountant? Do you have a CPA? It may be hard to afford. Excuse me. It may be hard to afford, but you may have a friend you can call on. Barter services if you can't pay for them. I'm sorry, y'all. This humidity has my sinuses doing crazy things. Know your numbers. Don't need to get ready. Be ready. Have your documentation. Know what your budget is. Know how much is coming in and going out. Have a plan. Business plan, succession plan, strategic plan, budget. These are things that you can do right now. Start organizing people around you to support you. You want people who are supportive, not the naysayers, not the I told you so's, not the you doing it wrong, all wrong. You want people to help you do research, to give you options, to help build with you. So get your team together, know your numbers, and have a plan. And now I think I finished right on time before we're supposed to stop to do the questions and answers. Anyone have any questions? I know I said a lot, I put a lot out there, but know that first you're a business owner. And if you can get your business together, you definitely can get your life together, and vice versa. If you can get your life together, you can be a business owner, because it's almost the same thing. You want your business to survive as well as grow and to better itself. You want your personal home finances to be maintained. You want to improve it, and you want it to grow. So you work them in tandem. The documents may be called two different things, but they do the same thing in your personal life as well as in your business life. So I want to see everybody succeed. I'm all about empowering you to find your potential within and to do your best to grow your business and to have a successful business and not be stressed out. I want you to be a happy business owner. I want you to be sunshine yellow and happy about going into the office and having a story to tell about your business. And I don't want you to be uptight about your finances at home. We want to be able to pay our bills, automate them, so we're not worried about it. And we are definitely not paying any late fees or any NSF charges. So with that, questions?
Whoever's ready, just unmute yourself. I want to throw out there as a challenge, if maybe no one has a direct question, just if you want to share a really useful tool that you use for example, your quarterly tune-up, like what do you do to shut everything else out so you can get that done?
What do you guys do? Because that's what you need to do, is shut everything out and get it done. You know, Sarah will know about this. I talk about a calendar all the time. Is it on the calendar? Is it on the calendar? It sounds weird to say that you have to schedule everything, but by golly, you got to schedule. Put it on the calendar. It makes it important, it makes it actionable, and it makes you responsible. So a lot of these things that we talked about, put it on the calendar. Check in with my financial coach. Check in with my CPA. Did I turn in my quarterly documents? Make yourself a checkoff list, because it may be something that you have to assign to someone else. And so to ensure that it gets done, check it off the list. Maybe you have a monthly calendar. I have all kind of stuff on my walls. I'm trying to show y'all clean walls, but I have stuff that I'm doing this month. Then there's something that says quarterly check off. Then there's a yearly calendar. And you kind of have to glance at all of those to see, did I do these things this month? All right, it's the end of the quarter. It's getting close to the end of the quarter. Are these things done? And then yearly, are these things done? Did you make your LLC filing with the Secretary of State? Put it on the calendar a month before it's due. Did you have to do any continuing education for any of the licenses you have? Put it on the calendar before it's due, especially if it's something that has to be turned in by a certain date and you have to sit in a class for it, or you have, because you want to have time to find the right class for you or the right course for you. So calendar things out, and that takes it out of your mind to remember, because it's going to be there and something's going to pop up. So that's a good thing to talk about, is how do you do those things? You schedule them, you calendar them. And then if other people are looking at your calendar and they see you blocked off as busy, then they're not going to bother you because you're blocked off, you're busy, and you're doing a task that needs to be done. And as personal, just like business, at home, we work on calendars around here. We have family shared calendars on our Apple phones. Y'all Androids, I don't know what y'all have, but we do family shared calendars. And so we know who's going to this practice, who's going to that practice. This needs to be paid. This needs to be picked up so that people can assign themselves tasks, or they can check off things that are done. And that takes everything from out of here and allows you to be productive in what you are working on at the moment.
I thought we
I
had
have a
somebody.
question.
Yeah, we do have a question.
How do I find a financial advisor for my business?
How do you find a financial advisor for your business? So first, I'm going to suggest a referral, because if you know someone who uses someone and they're comfortable with them, then it takes the, well, I'm just going to talk to a stranger away. But you can look online. So my personal financial advisor, I met at a Kiwanis Club meeting, and he did a presentation, and I didn't go with him immediately. But as I started looking for a financial advisor, I was like, oh, I remember this guy did a presentation and he's a financial advisor. Let me kind of look it up. So referrals are great. Networking helps you find out about people, because you don't want to just go with a stranger if you don't have to, because that makes
Right.
you feel more comfortable with giving your information, because you're going to start giving out personal information. You're going to give out business information. And so you want to feel a connection and a trust with that person. So I'll suggest networking. I'll suggest referrals. And then push come to shove, you can just kind of use internet, but then also use your resources. So like, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not going to sell you financial products, but I'm a financial coach. And so people who are coaching with me, if they need a financial advisor, I can give them one. You go to the hairdresser and you know they have a business. Well, you have a small business. Do you have a financial advisor? Do you have someone you can recommend? So ask other people who are affiliated in business who they might be using. And I'm sure through Stay Local, there's probably a financial advisor or two or three or four who are members of Stay Local. So being affiliated with this type of organization gives you access to people who are at least like-minded like you. So if you went and saw them on the internet, you know, you may not know them, but at least you know if they are participating in Stay Local, they're probably participating in these types of seminars. They want to hear stuff from other business owners. They're continuing to learn. So that might be a good place for you to start. Hope that helped.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Thank you for that answer. I just want to remind people, if you do look for businesses affiliated with Stay Local, .org/find is going to be our directory. We had a referral or came up before AI, Clarissa mentioned. We had an event where an exceptionally well-qualified person to present about AI did so, and we'd be happy to connect you with that person who, I mean, honestly took us through as basic as like, this is what you do when you sign up for ChatGPT. Here's how you sign in. Here's what you do. It was great. It was A to Z. Clarissa's contact information is on the slide. Sorry, I dropped the wrong address in the chat. So look at the slide. Any other questions today? I want to thank y'all so much for spending this hour with us and just say what a great start to the day. I don't know about you, but I want to not do anything but what Clarissa just mentioned, spend an hour doing that. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you all having me. This is fun to me. I love talking business and finance and helping people find that missing piece.
Yep. And I think too, part of why we are happy to have you with us today and everyone here is we're specifically talking to folks who are at a very particular size, and that really kind of helps, I think, among the network establish this kind of trust, right? No one's saying, oh, I kill on this. I do this all without thinking about it. The idea is that we really need to talk about how we do all this to be able to support each other in doing it. So thank you very much for today. We got some thank yous and love this in the chat. So please look at those, Clarissa, so you can see how much people value what you've given us. And I'll end our session. Thanks so much, y'all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.